If you are experiencing stomach problems, gut health, indigestion, watch today's video. I'm gonna share a really amazing dinner recipe that's great for gut health. So when it comes to gut health, it's just a really confusing area. I feel like there's so much information that we have to take in, and there's so many different diets that we get thrown at us. I know I find it really overwhelming, and I kind of got into this in my previous video on what I ate for lunch for gut health, so I will link that below. But the ingredients I'm using today are they kind of just take a broad look at like all different diets that are good for gut health. Now, the one thing that I find can really do more damage than good is when you get too rigid when it comes to food and you're stressing about every single thing you're eating and like, should I not eat nightshades? Should I not eat grains? Should I, avoid this food or go on that diet? So I think that today, these foods are kind of just an overall general idea of things that are going to be really healthy for you, that are clean, that are good on the gut. And you can kind of take it from here and, take these examples where you want to. It has a little mix of mostly grain-free, mostly low FODMAP, mostly paleo. So we kind of get into all of that in this video. I have a really delicious salad here that I'm gonna explain. I've got the most incredible soup that I mentioned earlier. It is carrot-based and it's got a little bit of coconut milk and cilantro, which I will explain. And then these are gonna be kind of our faux croutons. All right, so first let's talk about this salad. I personally like to have some raw fresh greens or raw salad with every meal because it just makes me feel good, but I was told so many times that I should avoid raw food. Crunchy salads are hard to digest, and it's super heartbreaking because I genuinely love like a huge bowl of like crunchy, like celery, carrot, like cucumber, tomato. Like I love all of that in a salad. Like I like the crunch. So I've actually found some ways to get around that where you still feel like you're having a fresh salad, but you're not necessarily having all of that roughage. And another thing to look out for is salad dressing. So I think that even just going from any kind of processed salad dressing with different kinds of oils and fillers and gums, which is one thing I really recommend like trying to avoid when you see like xanthan gum or guar gum, and just going to your basics is already going to be so much better for your health and your gut health. So for this salad, it's really simple. I basically just took one tomato, cut it up into big chunks. I have one full avocado because this is kind of a lighter dinner and I wanted to make sure that I'm getting enough, nutrients and I'm actually feeling really nourished and full after I eat it. And then I also added some fresh basil, and one tip with the basil, obviously make sure you wash it really well. Make sure you tear it because when you tear it, it actually brings out the flavors. This is also true for other herbs. When you chop them, if you notice, they just get a lot more fragrant and you smell them more. So make sure you're tearing your basil. You're just gonna actually enjoy the salad more. So let's just quickly break down the ingredients in this salad because I know that some people watching this will say that tomatoes are nightshades and they can cause inflammation. I think, like I mentioned before, everyone reacts so differently to different foods, and when you live in this like tense state of like stressing over a tomato, it's really not gonna do you any good because stress is just gonna do more damage on your body. So if you're worried about nightshade vegetables or whether or not tomatoes will bother you, literally try it, see how you react to it. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it. I personally don't notice any difference when I do or don't eat tomatoes, so I like to add them into my salads. I also like to add avocado because it just adds so much flavor and so much like softness to the salad. And I feel like when I add avocado, I don't have to use oils. I like using oils in certain things, but sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of a break. And when it comes to avocados, they're low fructose. So this is gonna be better on your stomach, better on your gut health, and just so much better than adding in like a processed creamy dressing. If you really want avocado to give you like creaminess, you could even look up recipes where you blend it with different like herbs and lemon juice. But I added chunks of avocado. I was kind of making this almost like a tomato basil like caprese salad, but we're subbing in avocado for the cheese, which can be acidic and inflammatory. We're adding avocado, which is just gonna add so much yummy flavor. And then I put a lot of red wine vinegar and lemon juice. This combination tastes really, really good. Lemon is great for your gut health. It's alkaline. It's just so good for you and such a good flavor enhancer. And just to add this note, because on one of my most popular YouTube videos, and I said lemon is an alkaline fruit, everyone said lemon is acidic. And I just wanna make sure you guys know there's a difference between citric acid that comes in like citrus fruits and actually being acidic or alkaline. So lemon does give you an alkaline effect when you eat it. And then I loaded it up with a lot of black pepper because that also adds a lot of flavor. And in terms of the basil, honestly, anytime you can get fresh herbs, I highly encourage it. Even when you do it once, like as I was tearing the basil, even me, I'm like, why don't I eat this every day? It just smells so good and fresh. But basil actually has natural oils in it that are anti-inflammatory. So this could be good for any kind of inflammation, whether it's in your gut, whether it's arthritis, whether it's heart health. So just adding them in is gonna be really, really great. Okay, let's move on from the salad and get into the soup. So this soup actually really surprised me when I first tried the recipe because I'm not a carrot fan. I love carrots raw, but I don't like them cooked. I don't like them in my juice. And this is literally like a carrot-based soup, but it is so delicious and so easy. So this soup was actually kind of inspired by a low FODMAP diet, which I get into in my other video. Not that this whole thing is low FODMAP because we do have bread, but again, I'm kind of sprinkling in a little bit of good gut health behavior from different diets. I purposely omitted onions and garlic from this soup because they can be irritating on the stomach, which is kind of heartbreaking because I love onions and garlic. They add so much flavor and they have so many antibacterial properties, but they can be a little irritating on the stomach. So if you are having issues, I would recommend just testing this out and seeing if you feel better. Give it a few weeks. So I'm happy to say this recipe, even though it's onion and garlic free, is delicious. So it's basically carrot based. You're just gonna chop your carrots, add them to a pot with some fresh ginger, some fresh turmeric if you have it, or turmeric powder. I didn't have fresh turmeric, so I just added turmeric powder. Add a little bit of vegetable broth and coconut milk and bring it to a boil. Another good thing about carrots is honestly, they're just such an easy vegetable, especially cooked. Like anytime you're thinking about things being easy on the gut, think the less work your stomach has to do to break it down. So, you know, versus raw carrots, you'd want something really soft and pureed, and carrots are so high in fiber, so easy on the gut. And honestly, when it comes to any of the gut health diets, it fits every category. So you're really safe with this vegetable. That's why I wanted to try a carrot-based soup. I added coconut milk, which I'm just a huge fan of. I honestly can't get enough coconut milk, and in soup, it gives it such a creaminess. It's so delicious. Make sure that you're using the one that I've mentioned before. It's native simple, so you don't want any guar gum. If you're going to make a recipe good for gut health, just make sure you're getting stuff without any of the added fillers. Now, I did add fresh ginger to this recipe, but I didn't want the ginger to be overpowering. Ginger's so healthy, but I kind of boiled it in the recipe, but in big chunks. That way I was able to pick it out before I blend it because I just think it tastes better without some, but if you like it, I mean, more power to you. It's so good for you, so definitely add it in, but me personally, I liked it without. And then I garnished it with some cilantro, and cilantro is, again, just an amazing herb. It actually helps release some digestive enzymes, so it's gonna help you break down your food a little more, and it's just adding in more flavor. Like the more live foods you can get and that like fresh energy from live foods, the better. So instead of getting like a dried cilantro, just go buy fresh cilantro. Like it's so easy to just literally chop it, add into your soup. I forgot to grab my lime. I'm also gonna add a ton of lime on soup. One little tip too, when you're eating any kind of soup, put tons of lime juice or lemon juice, but I really like lime in soup. It adds a lot of flavor, and it also helps your saliva actually break down food. So it's gonna help the digestion process, and any little bit here counts. And it's also thinking indirectly about adding flavor, because of course, you know, you're human. You're gonna wanna eat something that tastes good. So instead of reaching for, you know, the hot sauce that has some added sugars or sweeteners or like any other toppings that might have dairy, like having something else that gives a lot of flavor, but that's a very fresh ingredient, is really gonna help, and lime goes really well with this one. I also got some bread here to toast. So I think a piece of like sourdough or something like that would be really great with this recipe. I actually didn't have any at the store, so I kind of improvised here because I like having a little bit of carb with my soup. So this is just like a whole grain sprouted bread. When it comes to bread, my recommendation would be to find something, again, without any gums. You don't want like the xanthan gum, you don't want fillers like that because they're very sticky in the gut and they can just lead to a lot of gut health issues. Also, make sure you're looking for bread that doesn't have any bleached flour. We don't need bleach on our bread. And if you can avoid gluten, even if you're not gluten sensitive, even if you're not gluten intolerant, it can cause inflammation. So I'd recommend trying to avoid it. And honestly, there's just so many easy options. It's not like we don't have gluten-free options available to us. If you're traveling in another country and you don't know, it's not something you need to overstress, but when you're at home and you have access to different brands, you can, you know, easily find something that works. Because I don't have like a nice piece of bread to dip in here, I'm kind of just breaking it up and almost making like little croutons. so you can make this your own. And this is a perfect example. Like, some people, you know, believe that grains are bad for you and you shouldn't have them for gut health. Do what works for you. Like, if you notice that you don't have any reaction to them, go for it. If you do, then don't add it. But overall, this is an incredibly healthy, nourishing, gut healthy dinner. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and like this recipe. Let me know if you want me to share more soup recipes or if you like the topic of gut health. I think this is a really common issue right now, and everyone is kind of suffering from some kind of gut issue. So if you want me to dive deeper into this, I would love to. Let me know. Please leave any questions below, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.